When I was in my first year of university, I joined a J-term trip to Europe for a study of the arts. Our first stop was London, and we stayed in an old, very charming walk-up hotel. And we had quite a few chuckles about the fire buckets in the hallways. They were quaint, and they were a bit terrifying. I still remember imagining the possibility of a fire emergency and how we might use those buckets. I mean, where would we even get the water? And could we fill the buckets fast enough? Were there even enough buckets? And how would we possibly know what to do? And if there was to be comfort for these imaginings, it was that I was with a group of friends. Strong, capable, smart friends, and I could trust that somehow we would figure it out together. We show up in order to be together, to not be alone. I expect that were I to ask any of you why you show up here, at least some part of your answer would be about being part of a community. So I'm not saying anything new or profound. You show up here because of each other. But why? To what end? I think imagining ourselves as individual buckets of water that can fight a world on fire is a helpful metaphor for these times. And yet, of course, while we each have the potential to pour out all of who we are in order to bring about peace and safety and justice, a fire brigade, an endless string of companions lined up shoulder to shoulder, pouring out bucket after bucket, a fire brigade increases exponentially the possibility of changing and healing the world. The presence of others who are pulling in the same direction, who have similar visions for the future, who are willing to be in the struggle for justice, the presence of others is healing and restorative and comforting. Of course, sometimes frustrating, but ultimately, our connections are life-giving and powerful. We show up to be in the presence of like hearts, and we show up to be a presence for others. Because, well, you know, if we didn't, a beloved community simply couldn't exist. The beloved community takes all of us showing up for all of us. It takes the bucket of you to create a bucket of us. I know how easy it is to think that it doesn't matter if we're here, that no one will notice our absence. And yet, it does matter. If we're not here or at a protest or making phone calls, then we're not contributing to that bucket brigade. For everyone who doesn't show up, you know, there's a gap in the line, places where those unique gifts and energy are missing, which requires someone else to do more and to be more, and the work gets harder, and maybe the fire even gets out of control. You know, you've probably been in something like a bucket brigade at some point in your life, shuttling moving boxes or loading supplies or passing building materials or filling sandbags. And so we all know that it's easier when there's a full crew, when every step, when every piece of that line is covered, when the distance between us is no greater than an arm's length, when there are folks who will rotate in so that we can rotate out when we're tired. Yeah, we show up because it matters that we're here, but we also show up because we need one another, not only to fight the critical fights, but for our own very survival, for sustenance, for belonging, for friendships, for joy, to be challenged, to be comforted and fortified, to get those loving human connections, and for the possibility of creating change together. We come to rant and to cry, to hold one another, to apologize and to forgive, and to learn to love, to dream of a better future for the generations to come. And all of that is possible because we show up, bringing our own buckets and getting in line with others to accomplish big things. We need each other to survive. And because you are here, I believe that our mutual thriving is possible. Because all of you courageously showing up, well, That means we can do things and be things together. May our love make it so. As the